From the Denver Broncos Media Center, welcome to Broncos Country Tonight with Ryan Edwards and Benjamin Albright.
Welcome to Broncos Country Tonight as the Broncos are getting set to start OTAs next week, and really excited to break down some of those practices. And I got to thinking here, as Steve Atwater, Hall of Famer, Broncos Ring of Famer, joining me here in studio, I got to thinking, Steve, about some of the players that were with the previous coaching regime. Mm-hmm. Sometimes those guys do find good roles with the new coaching staff, and sometimes they're not quite fit for what the new coaching staff is looking to do. So before we sort of dial into specific names, I'd love to know from your perspective, not that you saw a ton of this, but you did see a little bit of it, when a new coaching staff comes in, how do you, as the player that was currently with the past coaching staff, was a handpicked player, how do you acquiesce to what they're looking for?
Yeah, well, I think first off, you got to try and build rapport just like you would any coaching player situation. Got to go into it with an open mind, and you want to be yourself. You don't want to put forth the front like you're being someone and you're inauthentic, and then when the real you comes out, it's at the wrong time. So you want to be authentic from the start. Be yourself, but at the same time realize that, hey, we got to build a relationship to where we both trust each other. And I think that's the biggest part about it. I don't think it's about really trying to get the coach to like you, or the coach trying to get you to like him. It's more about, hey, the mutual respect, mutual learning. They're kind of evaluating you to see how much you can take in, how much you can learn, and can you take it from the classroom, the word meetings and all that. Can you take that to the field and make something happen? And then when you take it to the field with no pads on, then when you put on the pads, can you do something with it? They're evaluating that. You're evaluating them. You're going back and forth with them, trying to see, make sure that you understand the defense or the offense fully, or special teams, whatever it is. And it's just a building of a relationship. And most of the time it'll be good. Sometimes, hey, you may not have a great relationship with your coach, but I think if you both still have mutual respect and, you're putting in that work, I think the coach will respect you, and, you respect the coach, especially if he's, showing you that he, knows what he's talking about, and he's putting everything into, making you a better player. I
think that's really well said as far as the human-to-human element of it. But there's also like a scheme fit part of it, right? And that's something that, I don't know, as a player, can you really change that? Like, for example, Netane Moody's a guy, right? Mm-hmm. We've talked about, hey, he's much better in power blocking when it comes to being an offensive lineman. He's really good as a run blocker. But we're going to a little bit more of a wide zone, and maybe that's not the best fit for him. And so is there something you can do as a player? This is what I wonder from your side of things. Is there something you can do to player to get up to speed, something like that? Or are you built for something, and that's kind of what your scheme fit is, and those are difficult things to overcome?
Yeah, that's a good question. But I think offensive linemen, they've gone through coaching changes before. They know they have to adapt. And, if it's not a fit, hey, the player, he may know it, but he still got to work his tail off to try to learn this different scheme and be as good as he can, and spend time with the coaches, to help him get to that level. Because many times coaches can see things that you're doing that are keeping you from being great. But if you don't listen to them, it doesn't help. or if you do have a coach who doesn't know what he's doing, he doesn't, really fully understand how to coach someone, they can't really explain to the player, how he can get to that next level and be the best player in this particular scheme. So I think the responsibility is on both sides. And, sometimes it won't be a fit. And, hopefully the team will be able to trade that player to another team who can utilize his skills and talents.
Yeah. So, and again, I think there's room, like say for Mike Purcell, right? And I'm more going with guys that are kind of on what would be considered maybe a bit of a bubble, but more because of where their contract is, because we're not having the same conversation about Justin Simmons. Because Justin Simmons, you make that work, right? I mean, in fact, he wasn't even a handpicked guy from the Vic Fangio era. He was even way before that, right? So I'm not talking about guys that are solidified in their current contract. I'm talking about guys that are kind of towards the end of their contract where decisions need to be made. And that's kind of what I'm wondering about some of these names that are kind of on that bubble, because what can you do to change or add to the perception of what the coaching staff has for you.
Again, the only thing you can do really is show the coach that you want to get better, especially if you're not very good in an area. Like I say, if you're not a good zone blocker,
yeah,
hey, you got to get with the coach and see if you can get up to a level where the coach feels comfortable. If not, then it's not a fit. You can't put a square peg into a round hole. Is that how that goes? Is that right?
I think. Well, and I usually mess up analogies. So I'm wrong person. I'm the wrong person to ask about that. But there are some guys like Malik Reed. They gave him the tender, and so he should be here. And I do think this, and I know George Payton did a lot of this last year as well, that, you give guys a little bit of time, right? I mean, there's no reason, unless you absolutely don't think they're a fit for what you're doing, that you move on and you come in and clean house. It seems like the Broncos have taken a fairly measured approach with the guys that were going to be under contract here, and they're letting them at least stick around for OTAs and into training camp potentially before they make some decisions. And I think if nothing else, that you can get a chance to see whether or not there is a role, even if it's a smaller role, like Malik Reed, Mike Purcell, maybe even Netani Moody, who at this point you'd probably love to see get an opportunity to compete on the offensive line. Maybe they're more of a swing role for you. And if that's the case, in depth, that's the case, maybe that's not so bad. Maybe that's not what they want. But at least they get a chance to compete on the roster, and the coaching staff gives them that chance versus just out and out cutting them. From your perspective, if you're a player, what would you rather have? Would you rather have I'd rather be out there and find a team that wants me for me, or be on a team holding on with the opportunity to maybe work your way up? It's a tough spot.
Yeah, well, I mean, as a player, obviously you want to be with someone where, that fits your skills and abilities, but I don't think you can really judge that by a certain scheme that they run. I think, it's going to be more about if the coach is able to coach you up and, get you to a level where you understand, and then can you compete at a high level then? Because, guys have had to play in different schemes their whole lives.
That's a good point.
It's just a matter if they can get on the same page. But yeah, as a player though, I would definitely, rather be in a situation where if it were a certain defense that I play, like, if I was a man-to-man cover corner and we were playing zone now, I'm like, man, I don't know. But, you
try it.
You got to hang in there, because, a lot of times man-to-man corners, a lot of them guys, they don't want to tackle. They just want to play man-to-man, and they forget what you guys are doing in there. I got my man.
Well, I remember having a conversation with Crockett, our guy Ray Crockett, about that. He's press man, and he had to play zone at different times, and he's just like,
But Crockett come up and he could play.
He has no problem
corner.
with that.
Oh yeah.
But he wanted to be press man.
Yeah, he wanted to be press man. He wanted to be. I had another guy, Ben Smith, back in the day.
Yep.
Yeah, man, dude, he could lock up some receivers, but when it came to learning like all the fits and all the adjustments, I don't want to hear all that. Just put me in man. I got my guy here. And obviously not everyone's like that, but you do have some guys who, hey, they have a way that they want to play the game, and if a team is not a fit for them, they don't necessarily want to be there.
I think the guys we've listed here all have a chance, but the Broncos moves this offseason would say that they're prepared to at least look into the future. They brought an interior offensive lineman.
Right. As always. I mean, you teams are always looking to improve, and sometimes they'll be bringing in guys at your position. Sometimes it's the guy across the room, but you're going to have competition not just about every year at some point, and just say, hey, welcome that. These players can come in, they can make you a better player too. You could pick up some nuggets and jewels from them as well. So just go out. The only thing you can do is do your best. At the end of the day, and you stand up late worrying about it. Just do the best you can. Learn the offense, defense, special team, whatever it is, and just leave it out there, man. Just what you don't want to do is not give the effort, not put the effort in, not know what the heck is going on, and then you get cut, and then you have regrets because you didn't give it your all.
I think that is well said. For Steve Atwater, I'm Ryan Edwards. Thanks for watching Broncos Country Tonight.